And then I got COVID.
Last time on Abby's SIBO saga.
You're unpeeling this never-ending onion. There's just so much to unpack, and none of it is black and white.
Oh my God, these ones, oh, okay. I mean, there are so many options recommended for SIBO.
But I'm not gonna make myself crazy about this. SIBO is still notoriously very hard to get rid of. I'm so frustrated.
Hey everyone, I'm Abbey Sharp. Welcome to Abby's Kitchen. As usual, a big reminder that this is my unique healthcare journey, so always speak to a healthcare provider about your unique needs. Okay, so I want to update you on where I'm at right now in this kind of SIBO journey. But before we get into it, a big thank you to Brooklinen for sponsoring today's video. So I have to be honest, my sleep has not been great these days, despite me doing like all the things. If I feel really bloated or in pain before bed, it can be really hard to get comfortable. And since we spend like a third of our life in bed, I really wanted to get the comfiest sheets I could afford. But most high quality luxury sheets are like $400 or more. And I got kids to put through college. So I recently discovered Brooklinen sheets, and after one night, I am totally hooked. So comfy, I did not want to get out of bed. They are all about delivering quality and comfort at an affordable price by cutting out the middleman. So I got their classic hardcore bundle sheets, which I love because they stay super cool all night long, which is key because I run super hot. It's also ideal to get their hardcore bundle because you save 25% instead of buying each item individually, and you get the core sheet set, extra pillowcases, and duvet cover. They also have 20 different colors and patterns that you can mix and match and cost a fraction of other luxury sheets. So you're really looking at $200 to $250 a set, depending on the size. Not to mention their reputation definitely speaks for itself. I spend a lot of time reading reviews before I make purchases, and Brooklinen has over 90,000 5-star reviews. That's actually insane. So if you want to try out Brooklinen yourself, they're currently offering my viewers $20 off any purchase over $100 using my code AbbeySharp. So check out the link below to see. Basically, my current protocol as of today, after I finished my antibiotic treatment, is that I'm just taking my prokinetic, which is called Resotran, which is really to help prevent relapse by supporting motility. And then for supplements, I'm taking my ginger, peppermint, iberogast, enzymes, sunfiber, ox bile, colostrum, magnesium, and my probiotics. I'm taking both an S. boulardii probiotic and Orthospore probiotic. And other things I'm doing is I'm continuing to try to space out my meals, which has actually become like totally intuitive to me. It feels good. It's what I do naturally. I like it. Things I'm more mindful about is I'm avoiding artificial sweeteners like Splenda. I'm not really having a ton of raw vegetables or any meal salads. And I'm eating usually like 2 kiwi fruit a day. And I'm trying to stick to mainly cooked lower FODMAP veggies for my meals. But tomorrow is SIBO testing day again. I hate this.
I don't want to do things. I want to not do things, just like you taught me.
So I'm living off of my white carbs and my eggs and my chicken again. And I'm definitely looking forward to my first latte post-test.
Last one. Hope that worked. Ta-da! I got my coffee in one hand and I got my sunfiber in the other. I'm going for the coffee first. Hallelujah. I got through it. Okay, so I'm expecting to get my test results pretty much any day now, but I wanted to share with you a little update on how I'm feeling about a month out of treatment. So basically, I feel much better, but not perfect. This is gonna be a TMI, but then again, like, what isn't on my channel. But if we were to pull up the Bristol stool chart, I would be getting like textbook 3 or 4 type stools, which is really like gold standard. That's what we want to go for. So we like that. What has not resolved is my bloating and distension, and just generally my tolerance to other kind of high FODMAP foods, or generally quote unquote healthy foods. And I know that because of how different I felt when I was basically doing the SIBO diet for 2 days, which is very low fiber, like all white carbs and a little protein. So my stomach looked and felt visibly smaller during the 2 days that I was on this SIBO prep diet. And then I kind of went back to looking and feeling like I was 6 months pregnant the minute I ate a vegetable. That tells me something's still not quite right. So yeah, even though symptom management might be better on like a fiber-free diet, definitely not great for long-term health myself or the health of my microbiome. So yeah, something's probably still up, and if it's not SIBO, it's maybe something in the large intestine, and thankfully we got data on the way. So in addition to the SIBO breath test, I also just completed what we call a GI 360 test, which by the way, I have absolutely no affiliation with. But basically there are a variety of stool-based tests like this. This one uses PCR technology and growth-based culture technology to look for a variety of pathogens, different bacteria, parasites, viruses. It basically maps your microbiome for a wide range of bacteria. But it's important to note that this is not a great test. We don't have validated evidence-based references for what's necessarily normal and what's not. So we're really depending on the results pool for this information, which makes it a flawed test and not ideal or appropriate for the basis of recommendations on its own. If a practitioner tries to tell you that it is amazing and it is the sole basis for recommendations, run. But it's what we have right now. Maybe one day the technology will improve and we'll catch up and the research will catch up, but it is relatively low risk. I mean, as long as it's not cost prohibitive for you, and it is pretty sensitive. So if you have a skilled practitioner to walk you through results and pair the results from the test to your actual symptoms, then it can help to inform treatment. So we take it as like a piece of evidence, and until the science improves, you know, I really try to take each piece of evidence with a grain of salt. Okay, so I got the results of both my SIBO test and my GI 360 test. They just came in here, and it looks like we've got some good news and some not so good news. The good news on the SIBO test is that this antibiotic protocol wiped out of the methane bacteria, which is definitely the more stubborn bacteria to treat and really was the goal of this protocol. The not so great news is that as we've seen the methane bacteria basically become eradicated, in the test results, we see the hydrogen bacteria emerge, which according to my colleague Anya Rosen, when I asked her about this, she said this is really not uncommon to see. Basically, the methane bacteria consume the hydrogen. So if there's methane bacteria present, it will always look like the hydrogen levels are low because it's using that hydrogen as fuel. But once the methane bacteria are gone, it's a lot easier to see the true hydrogen bacteria count. Annoying, yes, but the good news is that hydrogen-based bacteria are a lot easier to treat than methane. So I'm gonna do easy round of herbal antimicrobials to give myself a rest from all of the antibiotics I've been doing and just hope for the best. As for the GI 360 test, this comes with a really comprehensive and overwhelming results package that basically maps out the entire large intestine. So it's definitely not something that you want to try to unpack yourself, because you can go down a dangerous black hole on Google filled with misinformation. So definitely work with a trained specialist to unpack your results. But in short, my results were not surprising at all. And if anything, kind of better than I expected, I guess. The good news is I have no pathogenic parasites or anything like that. Thank goodness. The not so great news is that I have pretty significant dysbiosis, which is an imbalance of good and bad bacteria, which again, is to be expected after doing such heavy duty antibiotics. Don't forget that it's theorized that antibiotics basically put me in this position in the first place. And I want to flag that antibiotics are life-saving and absolutely were necessary in my situation. I had mastitis 5 times. It was quite horrible. Anyone that's had mastitis can definitely relate to that. But we don't want to overuse them because this does have potential implications. Other things we learned was that my gut pH was high, my elastase was low, which typically indicates poor digestive outputs like Poppy, oh my goodness. They're having fun. So other things we learned was that my gut pH was high, my elastase was low, which typically indicates poor digestive outputs like, stomach acid and enzymes. And my secretory IgA was quite low, very low actually, which typically indicates stress. Surprise, surprise.
So I'm just like,
We're living in a global pandemic. So this is not discouraging to me. Craziness out there. This is not discouraging to me. If anything, this is exactly what I would expect after the heavy duty antibiotics that I've been through. And I actually think that fixing this piece will be way easier than killing off the methanogenic bacteria that we just eradicated. So I'm actually feeling quite optimistic about all this.
Okay, so now let's talk about my new protocol. This thing is effing never ending. But to deal with the stubborn, lingering SIBO, I'm gonna try 4 weeks of my biofilm disruptor, bismuth thiol complex, plus 2 powerful herbal antimicrobials. I'm going to do oregano and berberine. And for the rest of the dysbiosis situation, the goal now is to really repopulate the gut with good bacteria. So I'm gonna continue with the Orthospore probiotics, which not only will help with the bacteria, but it also contains immunoglobulins, which will help to replenish the immune system to support the suppressed secretory IgA levels. Now, to deal with the high pH, this is really a sign that I might need some stomach acid support. So I'm going to get back on the betaine HCl. As for the low elastase, that's often a sign of suppressed enzymatic function. So I'm going to continue with the digestive enzymes that I was taking. And also, again, a reminder that most folks do not need digestive enzymes. And a test like this is so helpful to determine if you actually do. But SIBO notoriously diminishes normal enzymatic function. So this is like a temporary tool that I might need to lean on as I work towards replenishing and ultimately healing my gut. Now, the most exciting piece for me is that I gotta get those hydrogen bacteria, revving and rolling and hopping and howling and just happy.
I think I'm getting excited.
are you getting excited?
Yes.
Let me see you do that. Yeah, you're getting excited.
And to do that means I gotta eat all the FODMAPs. And I might get a little uncomfortable, but I'm up for the challenge. So here's a little preview of some of the yummy things I ate.
And then I got COVID. I can't really explain how unbelievably unlucky and, may I say, unfair it is that my family has COVID right now. We have gone above and beyond to prevent this and to keep my kids safe. I have sacrificed all of my physical and mental health to do this. It has really impacted every facet of my life for the past 2 years. And yet, it still got me. Without going into detail, All I'm gonna say is that the CDC's recommendation of like 5 to 10 days isolation period, 5 days for fully vaccinated adults, definitely not adequate in a lot of cases, such as mine. Like, we were infected over 3.5 weeks after a person became exposed, and that was with 3 negative PCR tests. It's hard to explain without going into detail, but it definitely feels like a huge kick in the crotch at this point. My kids are doing okay. O has had no appetite though, and kind of on and off fevers all week. He's definitely not himself. He's in much better shape. I have been so nauseous. I feel like I'm pregnant. Definitely took pregnancy tests. But I'm having a really hard time maintaining momentum with my SIBO protocol. This threw a real wrench in the mix. But basically, I have only felt like eating like super binding food. So rice, bread, rice cakes, rice crackers, pasta, bananas, fruit. Yeah, so all that is kind of slowing down my motility and my bowel function, which is obviously not what we want for SIBO recovery. But I really cannot bring myself to eat anything else. But I'm taking this day by day. Obviously, I'm going to continue with the protocol, do the best job that I can, just pray that my appetite comes back and I'm able to tolerate normal amounts of food, normal variety in food, and of course, be sure to maintain my supplement regimen, especially the fiber. The fiber is going to be key because I'm probably not getting a whole lot of fiber from my diet right now, seeing as I really only can tolerate like tomato soup and bread. So, update. COVID kicked my ass. Wasn't expecting that. But at the same time that I got COVID, I got my natural period for the second time in about 20 years. And that's because I was on the pill, like basically my whole adulthood. And then when I came off, I went straight into IVF. And from IVF, I was pregnant, then breastfeeding, then IVF, then pregnant, then breastfeeding. So it took a while for me to get a natural period back, and just for my cycle to regulate itself after having so many years of synthetic hormones in my body. So I think the COVID plus the SIBO medication that I was taking plus the period, all of those things combined made the perfect storm for me to feel like shit. I felt super nauseous for like 3 weeks, and had pretty bad diarrhea as well. Yeah, I know, TMI. So 2 days ago, I was on day 27 of my 4-week SIBO protocol, and I had a call with my RD colleague, and she said, abort mission and just like take it easy, rest, recover, and then revisit treatment. And on the same day, my ND said, well, you know what? If you're not feeling horrible, why don't you wait and see what happens when your period ends? Because she felt it was likely a lot more to do with the period than the SIBO medication or the COVID. And she said, why don't you wait it out and see what happens and how you feel after your period ends? And basically the next day, my period ended, and lo and behold, the clouds opened up, the angels started to sing, and I stopped feeling like So I am kind of glad that I just kind of stuck it out a little longer just to see, because there were a lot of moving parts. So it was very hard to see, you know, what was and wasn't a confounding factor in my symptoms. But I am actually finding that my bloating and distension seems to be getting a lot better. And also, of course, my appetite is finally coming back after it being just so low for those 2 or 3 weeks of COVID. And since I am feeling better, we decided I would tack on an extra 2 weeks of my herbal treatment and then retest. So wish me luck, lovelies, and please stick around to see how it all shakes out. And until then, don't forget to check out the link in the description to get $20 off of your Brooklinen purchase over $100 using my code. And if you like this video, be sure to give it the thumbs up. Leave me a comment below if you have any more questions about SIBO, digestive health, any other IBS related symptoms, etc. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and I will see you next time on Abby's Kitchen. Bye.